Hi, Elodia. So for your two images, you chose to photograph your oldest niece, and you did a character portrait as well as a beauty portrait. So this character portrait, you said you found her on the bench reading, and this just like sums up childhood to me. This is such a beautiful image, and it's a great example of a character portrait. We're not even seeing her face, but we're learning so much about her from this. The fact that she's reading on a bench, that she's upside down reading, that she's reading this children's book gives us an idea of her age, because just by looking at these, by looking at the thumbnails that you had turned in before I opened them up, I thought this was a much older person. And I thought they were just being playful. But here, getting closer to it, we can see that this is a young girl. We see the book that she's reading. We can see the unicorn shirt. We see like dirty elbows, paint on her knees, and these colorful sandals. So a lot of fun little things to jump around in this image and get more of her character. So I think you did a beautiful job capturing the essence of childhood and her as a child. I don't know that I mentioned her chipped fingernail polish, but that's also key here. All comes together well. I'd probably change my angle of view slightly on this to avoid having the ladder here and like the Coke can at the bottom, just cropping in to avoid that, which would be changing your angle, not really cropping in, I think would work better. Just to keep it in this kind of fantasy land of being outside, having this unusual tree and all of these plants around, and she's lost in her book. This image is your beauty shot. Your settings, I just want to go back and forth on these. Pretty similar, both are really wide angle. Here you have a lot more depth of field though. You're shooting this at f/22. You have the same girl and she looks so grown up here. Her hair looks like properly done. Her jacket is a sequin. She's wearing a skirt. She still has those playful sandals on. And the way that you have her posed and the way that she's set up leaning against this rock or rock wall, a cement wall, has a beauty element to it. But that deep depth of field that's showing us the garden in the background, that's showing us the details of like the apricot on the tree, it looks like that's what it says, on the tree that's been planted and the tags on the plants back there, that becomes a huge distraction. So you might be able to get away with this same shot in the same place and just opening up your aperture a ton so that we're not able to see all of that detail and we're really just focused on her posture that's really taking up a lot of the frame and the interesting light that you have on her with the shadow back here, and you have nice light on her face. So I think this image has the most room for improvement as far as making it more about a kind of a glam shot of a young girl and avoiding that part in the background that's basing it more in reality, right? We want to push that out of our mind and just focus on her and that idea of a beauty shot for her. So I do think adjustments could be made on this second image, whereas the first image, I think it's exactly what we're looking for a character portrait. And I didn't talk about the lighting on this image, but this open shade lighting, I think is working really well to soften the overall image and kind of push us towards that softness of childhood, which when we come to this image and you have her looking older, we have the harder light, and that contrast between the two, I think, works really well also.